So correct me if I'm wrong. We did have a pay-per-view last night. Hello, boys and girls. You're now watching Peter's WWE Raw recap. I told y'all I wasn't gonna do one, but come to find out, the Panthers played last night, where I actually watched Hell in a Cell rather than the Panthers play. Apparently, it wasn't a pretty game. They played the Eagles. They beat the Eagles. They're 6-0. Tonight was the Ravens and the Cardinals, and both are playing pretty bad football. The WWE product is pretty bad right now, but the NFL is just as bad. There's only like four good teams. Even though my Panthers are 6-0, they still a little rough around the edges. They got a couple of key injuries, and the Cardinals, who played tonight, are doing all right, but they've lost 2 out of 3, so maybe the game is still going on right now. I opted to watch Raw. I almost didn't because I was working on my reaction videos to last night's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. I did 3 videos. 2 are up right now. The John Cena Open Challenge, which ended up being Alberto Del Rio. I posted my reaction to the return of Del Rio. Is up to 1,000 views. I'm pretty stoked about that. So that reaction to Alberto Del Rio's return, and then the Cena Del Rio match, and then we also have up right now Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar. Tomorrow I will post Roman Reigns. No, not Roman Reigns. I'm going to post Kane versus Seth Rollins. So I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to try to run through this as fast as possible. I don't want this to be like a 30-minute review at all. I want this to be as hopefully within 15, 20 minutes. The only problem I had with tonight's Raw from San Diego was the fact that it seemed like there was nothing really happened last night. The show itself was more focused on wrestling and trying to find a number one contender than actually coming to grips with what happened the night before. The only thing they seemed to really want to focus on was the Undertaker losing to Brock Lesnar. And they didn't even have the decency to show up to even relay the message that, I would say even Brock Lesnar should have showed up. The storyline with Undertaker is that he got beat the hell up after his match by the Wyatt family. Now, depending on how they were going to do the storyline, it's kind of hard to come back from that. I wouldn't expect him to be on Raw the next day, but I would expect Brock Lesnar to talk about how he defeated him. It's the Mondays, the go home shows and the Monday after the pay-per-view should at least have your main events present, talking about either how the match end or what they want to do moving forward. But this didn't happen with Brock Lesnar. The Dudley boys didn't seem too interested in the fact that they got screwed out of another championship. They were busy tagging up with who the fuck did they even tag up with? With Cesaro, I think. I don't know. I get into it, but they didn't address at all. They all put in a position to address at all that they lost. We got Nikki Bella, who didn't seem focused on the fact that she lost, but she won today. I mean, but even that segment had nothing to do with Nikki Bella losing her Hell in a Cell match. Seth Rollins, he just come off a match, and Kane seemed occupied with the Wyatts. Del Rio beat really clean John Cena, and you would think it was just another match that he just won. I mean, it's John fucking Cena. It's John Cena. This guy never loses. He never gives up. Which, if you paid attention, why Alberto Del Rio didn't actually apply his arm breaker. Cena lost clean through count and not by tap out because John Cena does not quit. But it seemed that U.S. belt is an afterthought, which I thought it would be because it's not about the belt, it's about John Cena. And his alliance with Zeb Coulter is a very awkward one. So I would say out of the rest of everything else, it's just like, oh yeah, Kevin Owens defending the belt, and it seemed because he has the opportunity to win the U.S., I mean the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, is like the IC belt as an afterthought, and he beat Ryback, who teamed up with the Dudleys. It seemed he didn't care that he lost again to Ryback. It's like everyone just moved on. These blow-offs were what they were, just blown the fuck off. Not saying that they needed to extend, but at least show a little bit of emotion towards the night that it happened prior. If you don't have anything moving forward, at least address your loss or your win. Make a big deal out of John Cena losing clean to a returning Alberto Del Rio. But that didn't happen. None of this happened today. But if you wanted some fucking wrestling, you got some goddamn wrestling. You got a lot of fucking wrestling. Some good wrestling. The show opens with the Authority. I had to actually call Nathan. Shout out to Nathan Newman. We didn't do a New Day podcast today because I was busy doing the editing to my reaction videos. But I had to call him and get the first 15 minutes. And it seemed just the Authority showed the fuck up. Said, hey, we need a number one contender. We're going to do like a tournament to see who's the next number one contender for the belt. They don't address Kane and him being fired. This is what I heard. They don't address that at all. And we get Roman Reigns versus Kofi Kingston at first. And it's like you don't know who else is in this tournament. So I don't even think they even knew themselves who was going to actually. They knew who was going to be the winner, but I don't think they knew who was going to be in the match. And I think they just pulled straws and just ended up with the roster that was in the within these matches. And I'm thinking, outside the fact that it's a fatal 4-way as the final, all this is just king in the fucking ring, right? But yeah, Kofi loses to, I would say Reigns won. He won his, so he advances to the Final Four. And then we find out who the fuck else is in these matches that will compete in the Fatal 4-Way. We find out it's Neville versus Alberto Del Rio. We find out also Big E versus Dolph Ziggler, and Kevin Owens versus Cesaro. And we end up getting that match itself, which was like the Cesaro show. He was a House of Fire. A lot of sick moves, man. He high-fiving the crowd after uppercut into the barricade. Then he does like a senton off the apron. Good show. But a scuffle with the ref because he's got Owens in the ropes. He takes his eye off the ball, catches a super kick, and then he get pop-up powerbombed. Cesaro loses again. Did we get like a PCB segment? And it's awkward. I tuned it out because it's Paige still trying to convince the rest of the girls that she's legit. But then we get to the match because they needed a third member. Natty wasn't there. Team NBC is no more, it seems, for now. But Paige is like, hey, let me in. And then she's like, all right, let's do this. So we end up getting PCB versus the Bellas. And this turns into the Nikki show. And she actually wins with the rack attack. It's Bella, it's Brie, Nikki, and Alicia Fox versus TPCB. And then after the rack attack, we finally get the heel turn. And I would say this is probably the biggest moment of the night. Out of everything that goes on with all the show, in terms of wrestling, great. But in terms of moments, this is the shining moment of the night. We finally get the Paige turn, where she just goes after Charlotte, and she goes after Becky Lynch, gives them a pair of rampages, and then she puts Charlotte into PTO, and then they're laying dead. Now, moving forward, seeing what's going to happen with this, we'll see. They seem to get away from the possible dissension between Team Bad, and it seems like Nikki Bella is still looking good even after a loss, but we see what the fuck happens here and just get it over with. I guess if Paige is in line for a title shot, which I don't think she should be because she just lost to Nikki, I don't know how she would be entitled for a shot, but probably for the first part of whatever this feud finally is going to probably be Becky Lynch and Paige going at it first before she actually takes a shot at the title. We get Renee Young in the back with Zeb Coulter and ADR, and I'll say this, man. Seeing Zeb Coulter read a fucking teleprompter is the worst thing. This motherfucker it's Zeb Coulter. It's Dutch Mantel. He shouldn't be reading no goddamn prompter. The guy knows how to talk. But that just goes to show how much micromanaging fucking WWE does. It's a fucking shame. It's Dutch. Zeb, he doesn't. But he starts talking. They done wrote him up a script about how, because his whole thing is he's going back on his what's the word I want to use, suspect notions about America and what it is to be an American, and anyone on the outside of America can eat a dick. But he's changed that, and even in his promo when he presents Alberto Del Rio, he's like, I've come to a point where I like to see all people get along. So he seems to be all like hold hands and sing Kumbaya, Zeb Coulter. But then, and yes, that little faction right now is the Mex-Americans is not looking good. Welcome back, ADR. Welcome back. But then ADR is like, he's like a bigot. He's like a fucking Mexican bigot. Because he's like, yo, fucking devil. I'm not going to let some dirty immigrant. It's like, what? So you got this yin and this yang between Zeb Coulter, a guy who basically separated himself from bigotry and then teamed up with a Mexican guy. And then the proud Mexican who was kind of like against Zeb Coulter and his American bullshit, he's now calling out fucking other people from other countries, calling them peasants. So I just thought that was a funny thing. I leave with this is that there's no impact whatsoever. The most impact that Alberto Del Rio has right now is the fact that that return. When his name was called, he walked out and the music hit. He's in a fucked up situation right now with the WWE. If he's still in the shit house on his return, like, dude, there's other ways to go about this. Because this guy can be, he's back to be a star. He's not back to have to crawl through a fucking hole in the door. Like, don't make this a shitty situation. He's hot. He's red hot. Take advantage of this. He's on Lucha Underground. He's on AAA. All these things. And he's lighting it up. And now he comes back and it looks like they just threw him back in some bullshit. Zeb is great, but this whole Mets American thing, this is weird. And now he has a U.S. belt, and it's almost like the belt doesn't even exist. And he just beat fucking John Cena clean, and they don't even make a big deal out of it. Let's keep this shit moving. ADR actually beats Neville. He doesn't put him in the armbar, but he does get him caught up on the rope, and he double stomps his face and kills him. And he moves forward, but dude, they made no qualms. Commentary made no. Baron Saxton, fucking Michael Cole, and JBL, they do not make a big deal out of the fact that he beat Cena clean. And Cena's gone for 6 weeks. And they could have been like, yo, they took him out. He took him out. Nope. Nothing at all. We get a 6-man tag. Sheamus, Rusev, Barrett versus the Dudleys and Ryback. And again, the Dudleys, losers. They just lost to New Day. And nothing is said about it. Ryback, loser. Nothing said about it. And you get Sheamus. They're all losers. All of these fucking guys are jabroni losers. And they don't seem at all affected by anything. At some point, there's not even tags anymore with the faces, the Dudleys and Ryback. San Diego is hot as hell for Ryback. Hot as hell for Ryback. But they just start just going at it. They were like, fuck a tag. We're just gonna double team you motherfuckers. There's a point where they do a triple meat hook, a feed me more and meat hook. But it's to no avail because Wade Barrett gets to roll up. I think he gets to roll up on Ryback. And that's it. It was just wrestling with a bunch of losers. The heels come out on top. Ryback and the Dudleys are still a bunch of fucking losers. Bray shoots on the Undertaker until the Demon Kane shows up. And I swear, there's nothing more infuriating than hearing What Chance do a Bray Wyatt promo. It's just annoying. It's not meant for that. You might as well just turn the lights on and not have those fucking, lights shining in the back if they're going to do What Chance. It's just stupid. Well, anyway, Demon Kane shows up. The rest of the Wyatt family show up. And they stomp a mud hole in him because of the numbers game. He clears them out at first, but then the number game catch up, and then they just beat the living shit out of him. And then they carry him out. Now, I guess the Demon Kane is employed again as the Demon Kane because he lost his match to Seth Rollins, and they brought nothing of it up to the fact that the fucking corporate Kane is fired. You would think you make a big deal out of this, being it was your world championship belt and the stipulation. They didn't even bring it up. Well, anyway, he's going to defend his brother. And I guess if anyone's been keeping up, they've been doing this whole Wyatt family, Wyatt family versus Undertaker and Kane down in Mexico. So they're bringing it to the main, they're bringing it to Raw and see what happens. But we're rehashing old things because, again, it seems that Bray Wyatt is coming to pick the bones of the Undertaker, being that he had his ass handed to him without even not even a swift, not even like a courtesy call, and he loses at WrestleMania. And I guess he's still obsessed with being the new face of fear. And then Kane, as they carry him out, I'm like, they've done this before. Like 2 years ago. I guess during the whole Team Hell No thing. They carry him out just like that. I think they stomp him with with steel stairs, and then they carry him out. And now we're back to this. And not only that, they had to make it that much more uncomfortable by dragging him, showing him being dragged through backstage. It's just like awkward. They're just dragging his ass. It's like, no, we don't stop there. We're gonna keep dragging him out of the arena. Somebody called the cops. A bunch of bearded guys toting around a 300-pound dude in a red mask. Stopped them. But I just go like, we've seen this before. But it looks like it sets up for a Survivor Series. Big E versus Ziggler. With Summer Rae and Tyler Breeze, the debut of Tyler Breeze on Raw. But he doesn't do nothing. He just kind of shows up, takes some selfies. He sits at a booth. He sits at ringside, but they have a little booth set up for him. There's no interaction. The only interaction is actually Big E walking over to sort of swipe a sip of the drink that's sitting at the table. But Big E loses to the zigzag, so Dolph Ziggler advances. Susan G. Komen spot. My heart goes out to all those women that suffer from breast cancer, who have either lost their lives or fighting it. Kudos to ones who survived it. But it's just something about the WWE involvement in dragging out all the wrestlers to wear pink shirts, and something about the Susan G. Komen itself that just rubs me the wrong way. This time they had Titus O'Neil as the MC, and I mean, not being an asshole, it was a heartfelt speech. It was cool to see those women on stage. It wasn't cool to see the wrestlers out there. I wish they would just keep that shit separate, but again, it's a package deal. But I just don't like Susan G. Komen. They're gonna get their due one day, but how much they rip off, they profit off of the blood of dying or dead or fighting victims of horrible disease, which is cancer, whether it's in your breast or in your nuts, leukemia, lymphoma, all that shit. It's all just bad. And you got these fucking crooks. It just rubs me the wrong way. But other than that, the spot itself was what it was. Titus O'Neil gave a good speech. And then there's one wrestler that's not out there. It's The Miz, because he's too busy in the back playing 2K16, which is going on the market tomorrow. And Steve Austin shows up, and he just says a little something, and that was just pretty cool. Do we get the main event, which is Ziggler, Alberto Del Rio, Kevin Owens, and Roman Reigns in the Fatal 4-Way, which was full of fucking excitement. Like I said, this whole show, it's not much storyline. They focused on three things: Paige heel turn, Bray Wyatt and Kane, and the Wyatts, and this wrestling thing that's this Fatal 4-Way. And again, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from any of these performers. Obviously, Reigns is the odd man out, Mr. Kick, Punch, Slap, Punch, Kick. But Ziggler did his damn thing. Alberto Del Rio did the damn thing. You know, these guys put in a lot of work, especially to do double duty. It's on top of having damn near kill yourself in the pay-per-view last night. You got Seth Rollins on commentary, but LOL, Roman Reigns wins, and I feel like the WWE is trying so hard. It's trying so hard to make Roman Reigns the next Cena by making it seem so obvious and just taking out all the stakes in the fact that this guy can't possibly lose. It's like no stakes anymore. And the WWE will be smiling and high-fiving in the back when you start hearing, "Let's go Roman, Roman sucks." I mean, they're gonna be fucking happy as fuck when that goes down. Happy as hell, because mission accomplished. We made this guy polarizing. We're not gonna make him a star. We're just gonna make him as polarizing as fuck. And it seems that he has another opportunity at the World Championship because him winning this fatal 4-way puts him in position to face Seth Rollins. Win, maybe Survivor Series. That means that takes Roman Reigns out of any possibility to team up with anybody. And he's going to have a World Championship bout, which he might. It's about that time. It's about that time. It's about time for Seth to drop the belt. But I go, hey, he has to take that fucker to WrestleMania because Brock Lesnar has to get it back. Unless what they're setting up is Brock winning the Royal Rumble to face Roman Reigns in a rematch at WrestleMania. All right, so that's it for Peter's Raw recap. Thank you so much for checking it out. Maybe, I'm a little tired. I had to work this morning. I didn't get a lot of sleep. But hit that subscription button below. Be sure to check out the reaction videos. Again, we got the full reaction videos to the John Cena Open Challenge against Alberto Del Rio. We got Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker. And tomorrow will be Roman Reigns, maybe. I don't know. The match sucked. This is one guy that wants to see it, but the match sucked. The Seth Rollins Kane's match, it sucked. I don't really want to post it. There's nothing really exciting about it. So I may just keep that off. And I'm sorry, homeboy who wants that up, but there's no real reaction, not like those two. But then there's also just my straight up reaction to the return of Alberto Del Rio. I have that on Instagram at Ellen Japanese, and then I have it on YouTube. It's just it's fun. It's fun. Again, it's past 1,000 views, and that's the most views I've gotten on any video I've ever done since I've been doing these. So I do appreciate it. And then be sure to tune in this Wednesday, and it's going to be Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling episode 62, and we're going to do the review of Hell in a Cell, and we're going to review and have a discussion about tonight's Raw. So hit that subscribe button. Do yourself a favor, thumbs up. If it's anything you want to have the discussion with, comment below. You can also add me, PJTW Central. Again, that's PJTW Central on YouTube, on Twitter. And then, comment, like, subscribe, and share. Be sure you share this with your friends if you would like to do that for the homie. That would be awesome. Anything else? But if you subscribe via iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and Tumblr, you will get every Monday the New Day podcast, me and myself, Nathan Newman. You get Peter's Raw Recap is YouTube only, but then you have Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, and again this week is episode 62, and on Saturdays you get Peter Talks SmackDown. So always content coming at your punk ass, and again subscribe, share, comment, like, and one other thing, look out for those foreign objects. I'll see you Wednesday. Check out the reaction video.